Most entertaining, but it was too imperfect. 3 errors, weird managerial moves, a rain delay, a 2-run wild pitch. If you had a wedding and the bride was late and the bartender got drunk and there was a fist fight and your mother-in-law started throwing chairs, it wouldn't be the best wedding ever, but you would say, wow, do you remember that wedding? It is there was a lot of moving pieces. I was wildly entertained. And I've gone to boxing matches like that and football games like that. But it wasn't the greatest game ever. To me, the mid-'70s Red Sox, I'm a little kid, I remember that well. That to me was a spectacular game of accomplishments and heroism. This was just a wild baseball game.
I want to give you a new way to look at this game, because I agree with you, not the greatest game. What this was last night was the most pressurized sporting event, perhaps in American history. You have 2 historic failing franchises. You have the Cubs and the Indians, and all of this pressure, and the athletes that went into this game felt that pressure, and that's what led to all the mistakes. Think of the consequences in baseball. The consequences in baseball are much more severe than in any other sport. Think of Steve Bartman. Think of Billy Buckner. Think of Don Deaconsger. People in Kansas City still talk about him. Bartman's a recluse. Bill Buckner had all kinds of problems after that era for the Red Sox. In other sports, Chris Webber calls a timeout in Michigan. He gets the program on probation. He's still beloved in Michigan. There's no campaign to destroy Chris Webber. Think of any of the other great mistakes. Scott Norwood in Buffalo.
Greg Norman's had a very successful career post Greg Norman's failure at the Masters.
In baseball, if you fail on this stage, and so when I was watching Baez have the struggles he did, when I looked at John Lester and David Ross, the struggles they had, it was pressure. When I look at Joe Madden over-managing the game, it's pressure that created all of that, and people crumbled, but that pressure made the game so intriguing.
I don't think I've ever watched a sporting event, and we're both old enough, we've seen everything, that the crowd shots from the first inning on, I mean, pensive, anxious, people looked miserable.
Yes.
Like when you go to the Warriors-Cavs last year, everybody's like 2 beers in, it is a party.
Yes.
You go to a Super Bowl, it's corporate. There's no pressure. That game was uncles, aunts, generational strife. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. First inning, they would take shots, tip of the cap to the Fox production crew, and there'd be an Indian fan behind a Cub fan. And
everybody with the same look. We didn't talk about this at all last night or this morning. We both had the same takeaway. The crowd shots were fascinating and spoke to the amount of pressure and the consequences of baseball and what makes baseball special and different than every other sport. The ramifications, the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
It's incredible.